I outsourced my inner voice to my therapist and then wondered why I couldn't hear myself anymore. And as someone who hired so many therapists throughout my life and was in therapy for so much of my life, trying to solve other people's emotions that got stuck inside of me, it just made me realize that honestly, the thoughts and opinions that we have anymore, there isn't like an original thought or an original experience that I conjure in my own head, I feel like. And obviously, this isn't just due to therapists and people that I actively sought out opinions from, but even social media and being just around people all the time and having personal friends that you then meet their friends and you adopt their opinions because maybe they have other things that you both share value to, so then you think because you share value with one opinion that then another opinion is going to hold weight. And instead of checking in with ourselves and being like, oh, how do I feel from this experience, or journaling or doing our breath work and actually being present with ourselves and our own thoughts and our own opinions and slow down enough to take the time to do that, we don't do these things anymore. And some of this has to do with the fact that we're just extremely distracted. Like, we don't even have the ability to take the time to slow down. And recently, I have the financial freedom to be anywhere that I want to be in the world. And this comes because I have control over my time, not just because I have the finances to do so. Because I know a lot of people that they have the finances to travel the world because they make a lot of money, but they have actually no control over their time. So they make all this money, but then it's like, you can't actually do anything with it. Or they make all this money, but they're still living paycheck to paycheck, right? Because at the end of the day, you can make more money, but if your lifestyle and your day-to-day is more expensive, then it doesn't really matter how much money you make because you're still living paycheck to paycheck. Besides the point, when you do not have the ability to have control over your time and to be intentional with your time, you do not have the ability to operate through life from a place of calm. And when you are not operating through life from a place of calm, you're not able to make calculated decisions. Having the money enough to slow down because you can buy your time back gives you the ability to actually sit with your thoughts and your feelings before paying somebody else to help you dissect them. And going back to just being distracted all of the time, slowing down has really made me take a look at all of these things that we think are so normal that are actually distractions that we don't need, that are just overstimulation. And you realize that it's done on purpose. Like, off the back end of you being overstimulated and you not feeling the emotions that are in your body and the things that you've gone through, and you journaling and being intentional and doing your breath work and understanding your presence and your aura and how you are bringing your energy into this world and how you're operating. Off the back end, you are being overstimulated in every single one of these areas on purpose because somebody benefits off of it. And I have had to go back and forth with this concept because, like, sales is manipulation, and we hear this all the time. It's only manipulation because you are buying into it. The consumer is what's running the agenda, because if the consumer stopped consuming, then there would be nothing to produce in that area because nobody's actually stopping to pick it up. And this happens with our emotions. When we are not given the capacity and the space to slow down, you don't slow down enough to stop and pick up and actually form your own opinion. You're just always on the hunt to adopt somebody else's opinion because you're so anxious and there's just so much stuff going on. But when you sit down and you're like, oh, okay, so for example, let me give you an example. When I was eating a lot, my relationship with food was obviously not good. And any time that I was around food, I felt so guilty picking something up and eating it in front of somebody else because I was like, they're going to know that I have this feeling of unsafety that I'm trying to cover up with this food that I'm trying to eat right now. But nobody else saw that because that was nobody else's experience with food. Or maybe it was, but it was just not so visible because of the way that, I was processing these things on the inside. Even though the consequence was a physical consequence that, my body picked up. When you have the ability to slow down, when I had the ability to slow down, I was able to walk into a kitchen and be like, is this item actually something that I want to eat? Do I actually want to eat the Snickers bar? Like, is this going to fulfill me? And this has nothing to do with like choosing the healthier option and like, oh, I should probably eat the steak more than the Snickers. Like, that's not the point. The point is, what do I feel like? Do I actually feel like I would enjoy this piece of chocolate right now? Or am I just eating it because something just happened and I lost my trade and now I'm trying to fill this hole inside of me? Or I got in an argument with my boyfriend and now I feel extremely overwhelmed, and eating this Snickers bar is what gonna fill a void, because you won't just slow down and be like, wow, that conversation really upset me, or why did that trigger me so much? Is that related to something that happened in my past, like an undigested emotion that I need to sit here and be like, let me actually, how am I feeling in this moment, instead of just trying to shove a Snickers bar down my throat? And then next week go and sit with my therapist, or my 2 or 3 or 4 therapists that I've now hired because I have the ability to do so, to walk me through my problem that I tried to suppress. Like, you will save yourself time and money and energy if you just, and fatness, if you just sit there and be like, how does this make me feel? Okay, interesting. I actually didn't like that at all. I don't want to experience that again. This is what I'm going to solve inside of myself. Amazing. Wow. Next time that this experience happens, like, let's see if I can be more aware of it and try to navigate it a little bit differently. Cool. Awesome. Wow, I feel much better. Let me go enjoy my Snickers bar now, right? Like, the point is not to eat the Snickers bar. The point is to stop trying to overstimulate yourself and distract yourself from facing the things that you need to face on the inside. Because for the longest time I thought, I'll just stop, I'll put myself in timeout and I'll stop eating these Snickers bar and I'll stop all these bad habits. But it's like, why are you doing it in the first place? What are you trying to suppress? Why are you trying to be so busy all the time? Because the issue is usually not you being busy all the time, or you being too distracted, or like whatever the actual thing is. The issue is you being too distracted, right? So, food for thought. I love information. I obviously hired so many therapists myself, aside from the therapy that I went through as a kid that was hired in for me, because I love to just see perspectives. I love to hear perspectives for people from different cultures, people that were brought up differently, people that have 2 siblings in their family versus 3, and why you interact to your siblings differently, and what it's like to be the middle child versus the oldest child. And obviously it's different for an older child that went through a certain trauma, or that grew up in a certain family environment. So really, at the end of the day, when you think about it like that, when you have an obsession for understanding like human behavior and the human mind and how it works, but you yourself have also gone through so many things, you have to be careful not to just adopt it because you want to give them validity because they have a different experience. Like, cool, go collect information and speak to people and experience other people's lives through, their eyes, but make sure that you also give yourself the same time of day when allowing yourself to dissect your own experiences and relationships, etc. So, hopefully you enjoyed hanging out with the cicadas this morning. I don't know if you can hear them. I've just been watching the butterflies a lot. It is extremely hot out here. I am going to go jump in the pool, but I will see you all tomorrow.